Welcome to Tri-County Regional Black Chamber of Commerce Let's Talk Business podcast. Today I'm here with Tia Johnson again. She's my co-host.
Hey everybody.
I want to go ahead and thank our sponsors before we get started. So Southwest Airlines is a proud air travel sponsor of Tri-County Regional Black Chamber of Commerce and Permacore Business Solutions. Okay, so we got a few things to talk about, but first we want to remind everyone who you are and what you do, so people can come and find you.
Well, again, my name is Tia Johnson. I am the owner of Jayco Logistics, and we are a company who connects carriers and shippers to carriers so we can keep this country moving.
Nice, I like that. I'm telling you, I thought about being a truck driver still. It's just not.
We're waiting on you. We need you.
I know. You need me like the plague. My name is Tabitha Barron. I am your host today. My company's name is Keeping Your Kids Safe. We help all kids go home the way their parents intended. So no more children being lost and left on the school buses or childcare vans, and no more children being left off at the wrong bus stop. So if you want to learn more about what we do, you can contact us at info@kyksfirst.com, and we will be sure to start that conversation.
And I can also be contacted at info@jaycologistics.com or me directly at tjohnson@jaycologistics.com. And just so make sure that y'all know the spelling of Jayco Logistics is Jayco Logistics, Logistics.
Awesome. Okay, so what we want to talk about today, we want to talk about a few things. One is that people are at home right now due to the pandemic, right? So because of COVID, everybody's staying, mostly we're at home and we're working from home. For those ones who no longer have a job, they're just looking and just waiting for some of this to kind of go over. Mm-hmm. But because we're going to do the radio show May 4th, what people don't understand or may not realize is that those people that are sitting at home are actually looking for services. So I've been on social media. I'm really not a social media person, but I have been on social media a little bit more since all of this has happened. And I see a lot of posts that say, hey, I'm looking for. I mean, they're talking about graphics, website, salespeople. They're looking for a ton. So the radio station, the radio show from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Monday through Friday, starting May 4th, that is a very good opportunity for people to, other businesses, not small businesses, but entrepreneurs of all sizes, to actually advertise on this radio show.
Correct.
So they really do need to just go ahead and check out the website, tcbcc.org, mm-hmm. and look for the Tri-County radio, mm-hmm. business radio. And so on there, we offer, I think they're offering a good introductory rate for being on a radio, and as many mentions or as many commercials that can fit is probably going to go in there. So it's going to be pretty cool. And the price is going to significantly go up May 2nd. So it's really important for people to go ahead and take a look at the website and sign up for their advertising opportunity. And we will be talking about so many different things that are helpful to the members, right? Or to Correct. Anybody who wants to be a member. Because, in Tri-County, they are very good about disseminating information. Mm-hmm. So if you are here and present, you will absolutely have an opportunity to bid and be a part of something very much larger than that. So for that reason, we're asking people to go ahead and take a look again at the website and sign up for an advertising opportunity. At least look at it.
Yeah, we have an introductory rate that's pretty low right now. Just go online to the Tri-County Regional Black Chamber of Commerce website and see the offers that we're having at this particular time. Like she said, that the introductory offer does end May 1st.
May 1st, the last day.
You don't have much time, and you want to go ahead and take advantage of this opportunity as soon as possible, because once the introductory period is over, then the prices will change. And
and as a startup or an entrepreneur, our money is limited. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, so it's better to get into the introductory rates and even become even take a look at what is it going to take to become a member, and then what benefits will be added. Because that's one of the things I want to talk about. Also, is the fact that on April 29th, next Wednesday, there's a workshop for members for capability statements.
Yes, ma'am.
So for me, I thought that was really important because I've been trying to do a capability statement for, this is going to sound crazy,
It can be
a
confusing.
year.
It can be hard. It can be hard.
It's challenging.
I'm still working on mine as well. I'm a little bit far along on it, but I could still use help as well. And we'll have a great person, one of our board members, Hugh, that's going to be teaching that particular workshop or that webinar. So make sure that you do take the opportunity for our members. Make sure that you do take the opportunity to register for that webinar on April 29th. And it is at 10 a.m. to 11.
Mm-hmm.
And so you will receive an email. We have already sent out an email for registering for that webinar for Zoom. If you have overlooked it or deleted it somehow, it will be sent out again today. So just take a look at that email, be on the lookout for it, take a look at it, and go ahead and register for April 29th for that capability statement webinar.
Right, because that is actually going to go right in line with the one for the following day, which is doing business with NRG. So I'd like to congratulate Tri-County for becoming having a strategic partner in NRG Park. So they're now a new partner, and they have really, and they jump right in because the next day, so after a capability statement, they're going to come on for the members, and they're going to do a webinar as well, and they're going to explain what is it going to take to work with them and kind of
procurement opportunities and things like that you can bid on or work with them for different jobs and things like that they offer. So that will be also great to register for as well. So
from your standpoint, because you're Jayco Logistics, so if I was to ask you right now, how would you want to work with them? Because I can see it instantly how you can work with NRG. And so, what would you like to do with NRG?
I haven't even thought about it.
See, that's what I'm saying.
I haven't even thought about it yet. So it would take a second for me to think.
So they have a lot of shows that come through, and what we don't realize is that there are a lot of logistics that go into that, right?
Yes.
And so when I drove up on Georgia or Brown one time, I seen all the lines of 18-wheelers.
I didn't even think, it caught me off guard. The question caught me off guard, so I hadn't even thought about it. But yes, absolutely, like the carnivals and things like that they have to bring in the rides and things on big 18-wheelers. So yes, that would be an opportunity for me as well. So I would definitely be registered and on that webinar on the 30th as well.
I was thinking about that for me. I was like, okay, so what can I do with NRG? What would be great for me to work with them? No, I don't have it.
You don't have it yet? Well, make sure you get on the webinar. You might find out.
I know, right? Because as soon as I go, because even when I went through another program, when I sat there, I was like, I didn't realize that they work with, and I didn't realize that they work with, they were working with web designers, they were working with janitorial people as well, which is fine, but there were things that they were requesting that I would have never thought to go ahead and partner with any of the companies down here. And so that's why when they came up, I was like, okay, I'm going to definitely sit in that because I want to know, is there a possibility for me to be able to work with them? And you should do the same, because after this, we'll have our capability statement together, and then we'll be walking right into NRG, and even GMT Radio can get on that, right? Because that's an advertising opportunity for NRG in a different way to reach out to a few other people to kind of bring them to the city, right? I love that. Trying to think about different things like that.
It's kind of, you have to kind of look outside the box on different companies, because you'll think about, well, what can I offer them? And then when you speak to them, you'll see how much of the opportunities are available for your industry. And you just never think about the little things that they do, or you might think that a lot of things are more in-house, and they're not, because they contract out a lot to a lot of small businesses, and especially historically underutilized businesses, which we do have workshops for as well at the Chamber.
Right, so there are a lot of workshops, and I know the 3-month calendar, so May we'll start the new calendar for 3 months, and I know that we have certification classes, hub classes, workshops, and doing business workshops. So there's different people
business plan.
So we've got business plans. We have a lot of different ways to actually get that information out there. And again, with the radio show, what we're going to end up doing is being able to give our supply information that's going to be helpful, useful information. Because I think that's the one thing I really like about this chamber is the fact that at the end of the day, a lot of the information I receive is actually things I can turn around and use right away.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, oh, it'll take me 6 months to use it. It's actually, I get that now, so let me go ahead and follow through.
Mm-hmm. Implement it.
Yeah.
Implement it right away. And that's really on up to the member as well. So we do offer a lot of information and things that you can implement into your business, but you have to be ready and willing to do it right then. Or, I mean, you can wait if you want to, but the best thing is go ahead and do it and move forward with it
Right.
as soon as possible.
So what subjects would you like to hear on the radio? Because it's it's at a prime time, so people are either getting ready to go to work, or they're just waking up and just listening to the radio. And so there's some people that are sitting on the fence saying, I want to open a business, but I don't really know, or what is it going to take, things like that. So what would you like to hear?
Well, just in general, I guess I would want to hear, like, if you're not getting industry specific, because I would also want that as well. Maybe some of the days you get more industry specific. One day you might talk about the health and beauty industry. You might next day you might want to talk about trucking or whatever industry. Each day a different industry, but also in general, just smart business practices and opportunities that we might have found out about or success stories, things like that.
I love the success stories.
Mm-hmm.
Because as much as we're all successful in our own given right? The one thing though is that we draw comfort in knowing that someone else has gone before us and has accomplished what they've set out to do. So
Mm-hmm.
that gives us enough encouragement and motivation to be able to go and conquer that dragon just as well.
Yeah.
So I think that that's great. I would love to find some success stories, some things that people can say, hey, this is what I did. I learned a lot in here, so let me help you with your learning curve. Those are the things I love, because I understand failure isn't an option and things like that, but failure is part of the journey, and it's not failure.
It's not, it's learning. So they say failure isn't an option, and I agree in the long term. You don't stop, but there are things that you are not going to go your way.
Mm-hmm.
Things that you have planned and things that you thought was going to go one way and didn't. So I don't know if that's necessarily failure. That's more of a learning lesson, and you want those learning lessons. You don't want for everything to always be perfect, because then you're not going to know how to fix them when they're not.
Right, and that's what. So that I love that because everybody's walking around with all these antidotes, right? That doesn't fix anything. But if you show me an example of how it worked and how it may not have worked as well, then I can draw from both examples and say, okay, they did it this way, my personality and my business fits in this space like this, and so I'll take a piece from each one of them, and then you might be able to, I might have been able to change my trajectory just by understanding both sides of the fence.
Things that I've run into is I listen to a lot of other people in my industry, and the hurdles and the roadblocks that they faced or ran into when trying to move forward. So, and then of course they tell me, how they gotten around it or what they did to fix it or whatever. So before I listen, I take my time and pay attention to what they're saying, because if they're in the same industry, then I'm probably going to face that roadblock as well. So what I do is take what they say and try to implement them to try to get ahead of that, 2 steps ahead. So when I get there, I'm not saying I won't have it, but maybe it won't be as much, and I'll be able to maneuver around it a little bit easier.
Yes, so that's great. So I'm glad you mentioned
So that's something I would want to hear about on not only the success stories, but the learning lessons.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
lessons learned. Oh man, I'm an engineer. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
By design, DNA, and by education, because I think I just came out as a problem solver, so that became an issue all by itself as I was growing up. But I can say that we go through these projects and things, and we do this post-mortem. People are like, that is so morbid. But at the end of the day, what you end up doing is you work through all of the everything that happened, you review it. It's like sitting in a round table and just taking a look at what was successful, what was not, what was helpful, what was not, what do we need to do better if we were to attempt to do this again? And what happens inside that meeting is we learn that even though the things that we planned for sometimes were what we expected to happen at the end doesn't happen, that doesn't mean it was a failure. It was uncovering what was truly sitting there the whole entire time. And so that's why I like having those lessons learned, or what some people consider postmortem, and we just have those conversations, and they're very good. So I would really, this will be very interesting to kind of walk through and see what that looks like. But I would encourage people to do that, because your failures are only a failure when you don't learn from them.
Exactly.
So that's how I see that. So that's good. I mean, I like it. So we got, capability statement on 429. We're going to be doing business with NRG 430. Keep in mind that all the workshops that are provided through the chamber are members only. So in order to
well, not all of them. Some of them we do extend out to non-members, but these particular ones are members only.
So a lot of them is, I would recommend people to actually just make the decision to join the chamber, because there is a ton of information and a ton of opportunities that are available to the members, and then a lot of education behind it. And then we get to meet great people.
Of course. And you always want to build your network.
Yes.
Remember, we were talking about that last week.
Right.
So you want to build your network, and what's better a place to build a network than a network of business owners like the chamber?
So it works out. So my network becomes your network becomes my network. So now I've just almost doubled.
Yeah, and it doesn't you don't have to even build your network. Your network doesn't necessarily only have to be your industry.
Right.
So, like, she's part of my network because she's part of my chamber. So things that she's experienced and things that she goes through in business, I would listen to her as well, and I do. So.
And I listen, and I'm like, because that's why I'm like excited about certain things, right? So.
I already got her to get her CDL.
I know, right? Come on in. I'm like, okay, let me drive this truck. I'm like, I probably will never have a home at that point. I'm like, well, okay, I'm just gonna be on the road forever.
House truck.
House truck. I'm gonna have to go visit this truck. I have to go see about this. I'm like, I really want to try it. There's all these weird things I want to try, but that's one of the things I want to try. So yeah, so the calendar comes out and everything. So we got a lot. I just want to say the radio thing. That radio thing is a big thing for us because
and it's on at a good time. People are getting up in the morning. They're either getting dressed, going to work, or right now everybody's just probably going to the living room or their office to go to work.
They're only getting dressed halfway.
Yeah. But either way, they can have the radio on and work and learn and be active with us or whatever, because will they be able to call in and things like that?
Yes. Okay, so I'm glad you asked the question. So there will be opportunity for them to call in. So we do have places for people to do business spotlights. So I would love to hear about all the different businesses that are available to everyone, and being able to do that is just to purchase the business spotlight, our showcase, where we just sit and have a conversation for about 10 minutes on the radio, and everyone gets to learn a little bit more about your business and what you're doing, what you're looking for, and who are you trying to work with or collaborate with. And I think that is going to be so important to a lot of people who are just starting, or even those who are, after all of this is over, where it has to start to ramp up a little faster. I think the opportunity is definitely there to be able to expose the business in a way that people can kind of see under the hood and say, yes, I want to go work with that person. Yeah. So, and I think for you too. So, Jacob, I know, but we've had our conversations here, but everybody hasn't heard our conversation about Jacob. So we got to go ahead and do that. So we're going to put everybody out there so people be like calling, talking about, okay, I need to connect my shipper to your carrier, and that's what you're looking for. So that's a good opportunity there, as well as join commercial shots that can let people know where they can find you and what your business is about. Because I saw a lot of people ask me, do you know a bookkeeper? Do you know a lawyer? Do you know this? Do you know that?
Yeah, even with, I ask that question a lot of times within my own company. So I need to talk to lawyers. I need to talk. Do you know a good lawyer? Do you know a good accountant? Things like that, just so we can have either on retainer, or just to ask questions for, consult with from time to time. It doesn't necessarily mean that we need them, but you do need to have these particular people in
And-
partnership, in line with you.
Yes, absolutely. So that's the, I think that's good, cause what you do is that you put your ad out there, you make it visible, but you start the meetings now. So this is one of the things I would encourage different people to do while they're at home. Start having your consultation meetings now,
Mm-hmm.
because what I've learned, this is one of the strangest things I've ever been told by almost a stranger, because at the time he was a stranger, but I got to know him a little bit better, but still not where we need to be. But he told me one day, he said, before you start to do business with anyone, depending on where you're going to do business, you need to date them. And I sat back, that look you have on your face right now, the same look. I was like, okay, dude, I don't understand what the heck you just told me.
I think I'm getting it,
But
go ahead.
then he said, when you go and when you date that person, you spend time with that person, you talk to that person, you get to learn whether or not that's going to be a good
Fit.
fit.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people I notice will just jump into those relationships and then they walk away pulling their hair out and saying, oh my gosh, this was the worst experience ever. This is not what I expected. Everything like that, right? But it turns out that had they listened to their intuition
Or
and their
had they
core,
Learn the person.
and then had they dated the person, they would have learned that they were not a good business fit for them, and then they wouldn't have done it. So unfortunately for him, it cost him a few $1 million. And that's when he said, from that point on, he said, I date everybody before I actually sign a contract to get in bed with them.
Maybe it's a different word that can be used as opposed to dating.
Right? But that's the only, but if you think about
it makes sense.
it makes sense.
It makes sense. But I don't know if that word is going to sit well with people. I'm not dating my business partner, or my dating my business.
I wouldn't tell them. I would just be like, okay, let's get to know one another. Let's figure this out. But
Let's see if we're a good fit.
yes, a good fit.
A good
But-
fit. But I get it. Actually, that dating would probably be the only word that makes
Sense.
in that when trying to describe what you know. You
Why
need
is
to
that?
do.
So why do you think that is?
Well, when you're dating a person, you're
Mhm.
getting to know them. You're getting to know if the fit is correct. Whether,
Over a period of
of
time.
time.
Because some people,
but some things are time sensitive.
some people,
Some business opportunities are time sensitive. So
This
what do
is
you do
true.
then?
yeah, but here's the thing. When you first meet somebody, do you recognize whether or not you feel like, oh, I would love to talk to them more, or, oh my gosh, if I never speak to them again in life, it'll be too soon?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So, so those flags go off probably around your first meeting. So when you feel the need, and this is the one thing that I kept skipping, I promise you, I kept skipping, I kept saying, well, maybe they're just having a bad day. And
Making an excuse for their actions.
maybe it's me, I'm having a horrible day. So I would excuse behavior, and then I would show up again. And then that same behavior would be there, and I was like, this can't be it. But by this point, I'm like committed, because I've done this before. So I've done the first introduction, and I'm like, ooh, okay, well, I'm not feeling so great today. I'm gonna try this again tomorrow. Let's see if it's still the same. And I tried it again, and halfway through it, this just happened recently. And I was like, I will never have this conversation with this person again. I cannot do this. This is not in an alignment with who I am and what I'm trying to accomplish. So I know that. So the dating analogy actually works for me, because it means that I am going to touch and consult with you multiple times before the final decision is made. Even though it's time sensitive in some cases, it's multiple times, because if I go on my first impression, sometimes that doesn't work. It's not always my first impression. You have no clue. That person could have gotten in an accident. That person could have gotten divorce papers that morning. You don't know where people are in their head.
That's true.
So the first impression sometimes is a very challenging one, because you're getting a vibe or energy back from that person and you don't really know
what's going
on with them. So we have to, to a certain degree, I give a little bit more leadway and have a little bit more empathy for the possibility of something negative happening to them that impacted this. But if they show up every time like that, then I'm going to say, okay, so this isn't necessarily a good fit at this time. Maybe if something changes, we can switch. Something like that. And I think that makes a little bit more sense. Gotta stop excusing these
You have
our
to.
core beliefs, our intuition, because that's the only radar we kind of have, that we just have a tendency to say, we thought over body that says, I think it's better than what my body is telling me it is.
Yeah.
I don't think that's cool. But yeah, so I think that's an important part. So I think some of that would actually work inside a radio station, like inside a radio show. to talk about those things. What's bugging us? What's going on?
Yeah, the things that bother us and things that bother you in business. Yeah.
Or the things that bother us and how to overcome them. So there's some right now. We're trying to overcome. So financial thing right now is for a lot of people. So how would we look at how to overcome the financial hurdles that we may be experiencing in our business? That's another one. So that's good information to kind of give out. Having financial advisors as advertisers, and then being able to make that connection with you on the radio.
That's a good one.
I
like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
This is a good brainstorming conversation. We can figure out all kinds of stuff. So here, look, I have a running list. So we're doing the financial, hurdles. Yeah, works out. Tell me what else, because you've been doing this for a little while. You've been putting everything together. So let's just small. What has been one of the hurdles that you have run across that you struggled a little bit to figure out how to overcome, but then figured out the answer? Or have you had any?
Well, yeah.
I think you're special.
I'm trying to think. One of the hurdles that I've had is organization.
Yeah.
That's one of my biggest hurdles. And I'm not even bad in it, but the paperwork part of the whole business thing can get a little bit overwhelming, extreme, and all of that. So you have to, and then being able to retrieve certain documentations, on the spot and things like that. You're like, oh, where is it, all of that. So my organization has gotten a lot better, but at first it was very overwhelming because I was had my hand in so many different things, trying to get certified here, trying to do this over here, trying to make sure that the foundation was set completely to where it was it got a little chaotic as far as organization goes, and then I had to sit myself down and take a day to get something, get some type of process or organization or something that I was going to understand and that I could also be able to explain to other people if, when they came to help me out and things like that. So, and that's a little problem that I have, but that's the first one that came to my head.
Well, that's a good one because a lot of us have that same issue. I had the same issue. And so when you look at my office at home, my office looks like somebody ran through it. First of all, right now, what I'm doing is I'm actually, because I have a little bit more time in a different way, that I actually decided to debulk everything. So I'm shredding and throwing and shifting things so I can bring my office back to alignment to where I like to be, like the space I'm in, because I think I work a lot better when everything is in its position and place and moves, right? So I'm doing a lot of that. But we all have organizational issues based on what type of paper has to travel with us. But one of the things that I did find is that there is an app or a group of people, and lawyers, believe it or not, have the worst issue with that because they have to keep up with so many papers, so many briefs, so many things. But this one couple came up with, one's a lawyer, one's IT. They came up with a way for you to have all of your stuff in one briefcase for each individual person, so no more searching.
See, that's amazing.
Right?
I mean, I put all my stuff in folders, separated by whatever the grouping will be, whether it's carriers, shippers, things like that, and then separated by the actual company name and all of that, and my not personal stuff, but my business stuff, like the articles of organization, all of that, certificate of formation, and everything is in different groups, so I can go to it immediately. But sometimes I forget what group things are in, so I have to go through each one. But I want to talk more about that. You said it's an app?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna go back and I'm gonna find them because it actually serves they are only doing it, seems like they were only doing it for the law offices, but it had so many other applications that can prove to be very beneficial for all of us.
All industries.
Because you have to keep everything in alignment and in compliance based on, over the road driving. But then for me, because I'm working with schools and little people, I have to keep a lot of things in place. But at the same time, I have to shred. I have to get rid of a lot of information too, because I don't need that information to just kind of be hanging around. I need it to go away because the school has that, right? So, yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot of benefit in that. When I seen it, I was like, I definitely want to try and take a look at that. So I'll find it and I'll send it over to you for sure.
Okay.
But that's trying to figure out the best thing. So I guess that would be organization too. What are some of the best practices? Not saying that you'll be able to adopt any of them, or you might be able to adopt a bunch of them, but things that are going to help us in the long run to kind of keep us moving and not get us, because that's that rat hole.
Look, listen, organization will have you just all over the place. If your business isn't organized, if it's paperwork or employees, anything, it's overwhelming, and then it causes chaos, even just within myself. You know, even if nobody else can tell, it's just overwhelming to me.
Right.
But as soon as I'm able to clean it up, get stuff, finished or completed and put in its proper places and things like that, it seems that things start to streamline
Yes.
a lot better and move and flow, and my mind is better, and my anxiety is better, and everything just works out a lot better when things can be cleaned up and organized.
Right, and so that includes your financial books too, because
Most definitely. Your
a
financial
lot of people don't do that. They still. So I think that entrepreneurs, we don't see the value in the QuickBooks or the financial
software.
We don't see that, so we exclude it and put it on a spreadsheet.
Well, the people don't want to pay for it.
But
They see the value in it, but I think it's more they don't want to pay for it, or they don't want
you pay for it at the beginning or you pay for it at the end, but one way or another you're going to have to pay for it. So
Yes.
it's better to get it together now and let it go. And then because I have a friend right now, she does bookkeeping, right? And she specializes in cleanups. So for all of the startups who are walking around here with shoe boxes full of receipts and spreadsheets that are out of whack and multiples, she's the one that comes in and helps cleans up all that, puts it all in a way and a process, and builds an automated process in order for you to be successful financially. So that removes that aspect of it, and then now you can go and put your head in the business the way you need to.
See, that helps out a lot.
Right? So
that helps out a lot.
So and back to organization, right? So that's the organization part.
Especially financial
Right.
organization.
That is enough. Girl, I've been under the bed talking about I cannot come out today. The financial the financial boogeyman has come and knocked on my door, and I'm not answering that. So this is bad. I'll tell you this short story. It's very funny. Not really, but funny anyway. So one day, when I first moved out, my mom, when I was growing up, was doing her taxes and stuff, no problem.
Okay.
So then I go out on my own. I have my daughter and call my mom, and I was like, okay, can you do my taxes? She says, no ma'am, you have to do your own taxes. And I was like,
what happened? What just happened?
I don't
here?
understand. Did I get booted out of family? Okay, so she told me no, I had to go figure it out. Girl, I tried to do my taxes. When I tell you I threw everything underneath the bed and closed down everything and sat there and didn't do anything for like weeks. My mom was like, did you do your taxes? I was like, no, I cannot do those taxes.
What?
And she said, why? I said, because I owe them so much money. I had swapped two numbers and threw everything off balance. And it was so terrifying. And I was like, I can't do it. And I ran away. And then I ended up having to pay somebody to do it.
Yeah, one thing as business owners, a lot of what I see a lot, business owners try to wear all hats.
Yeah.
Don't try to wear all hats. You will get frustrated, overwhelmed, you will go crazy, everything. If that's not your niche, and I'm not saying for all of it, some things I know are financial purposes that you just want to go ahead and try to learn it yourself to save money. I get that part. But some things that you are going to stress you out to the point where you're going to throw it up underneath the bed and leave it there, let somebody else do it. And so you focus on the things that you are comfortable with, that you are knowledgeable on, that's in your expertise.
Right. So just like Oprah said, because that was one of the things she said to Tyler Perry, she said it to multiple people, just sign your own checks. You don't have to do the financial aspect of it. You don't have to balance your books, reconcile your books, or put all the information in there. Just sign your checks. Because at that point, you know what money's going out the door. And so then you have more control over that. So in order to understand a little bit of that, we can go back to email overload. Everybody's in email overload. but we have a survey that has been sent out to the members and things that we want to talk about a little bit.
Yes, actually. So we have sent out a survey because it's a 5-question survey, really only 3 questions because the first 2 questions are just, like email address and name. And the questions basically are, what's the best way to keep you abreast of the Tri-County Regional Black Chamber of Commerce information, outreach, and activities? Another question is, in regards to our workshop programs, how would you like to participate? And there's different options: in person, webinar, Zoom, teleconference. Then the last question will be, what is the best time of day you intend to participate in Tri-County Regional Black Chamber of Commerce workshop programs? And that's morning, afternoon, and evening, and it gives a time frame for that. It is imperative that our members do go ahead and take this survey as soon as possible so that we can know how to serve you best. If we don't know, we can give out as much information and try to hold as many workshops and conferences as possible. But if you don't, if it's not based around the needs of our members, then it's not beneficial. So please take the time out. As I said, that the survey will be sent out again if you haven't seen it. So we will send it out again, but it was sent out yesterday. And if you could take that survey as soon as possible to help us help you.
Yeah, really.
Mm-hmm.
Because we all have, we know where our weaknesses are and things like that. So we know that if I have a ton of emails, it's gonna get buried.
Mm-hmm.
So if you prefer a different way, you just need to let someone know so we can go ahead and get that information to you. Because some of the information is very time sensitive.
Yes.
Very.
Yes.
So sometimes the workshops will come up really quick, and then they'll go out really quick. Like, you'll only have 10 slots. Well, now with webinars we can have a little bit more, but
well, not even only the slots or the amount of people that can participate, but the time. Sometimes, we can send out an email about a conference or a webinar or a workshop or something, but it's going to be either the next day. Maybe we got last minute notice, or maybe it was something that had to be formed quickly so that we can get out information. So, the best way to contact y'all would be great for us to know so that we can get this information to you. Sometimes, like I said, time sensitive information out to you as soon as possible, that that you will be easier able to obtain the information. Maybe the email's not for you. Maybe you don't check your email that much. Maybe it should be another form of communication. Just when you want to be able to go to the website every day, or you want to listen to the podcast or the news, the radio show that we're going to have. Do you want the information to go that way? What is best for you? Because we want to make sure that we help you.
Right.
Help us help you.
Help us help you. Because we can't disseminate information if we don't know how to get it
Exactly. Exactly.
So that works out really well. So, okay, so we have capability statement. We have doing business with NRG. We have the radio advertisement opportunities, a lot of them. We have a lot of spaces, but they're filling up quick. So people need to reach out and let us know what they want to do.
Like I said, go back to the Tri-County Regional Black Chamber of Commerce website, and there is an option on the home page for the radio show. You can click there, and it'll give you the introductory opportunities and introductory rates that we have now to promote your business on the radio show.
Yep. So that works out really well. And then you can also, when you become a member, you can come sit down and talk with me on a podcast.
Yes, and it's very fun.
It's not so bad. Like,
it's not so bad. I was very nervous the first time. I didn't know what to say. But then I'm back again, and it was by choice. So I kind of like it.
I know, right? It's not so bad. It's a conversation.
It's a conversation, and it's fun. And
brainstorming, because how many things have you found out or figured out since we've been talking for the last couple weeks? Like, every time we walk away, I'm like, oh, I gotta go do that.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, that's a good idea.
I mean, I just got one when you said about the NRG.
But yeah, you'll always have a good idea, and we can sit there and figure it out for sure. Mm-hmm. It works out really well. So we can always come. But advertisement, radio, we have to emphasize the radio advertisement, because there are so many people that listen to the radio every single day. So imagine what having one of your ads show up on a radio station. People say, hey, I heard you on Tri-County Regional Black Chamber Radio.
Mm-hmm.
And being able to have that. And then at the very beginning of your day, you're getting an opportunity to advertise your business before everybody gets started in their day, and that's the thing that they remember. And then they reach out and call you. How many bookkeepers, how many financial people, how many funding people, how many other coaches, business development. There's a ton of people out here, lawyers. We all need a lawyer. Not a legal, not a not a criminal one. We just need lawyers because we have papers and we have things we have to file.
Contracts, all of that. Sometimes you need for lawyers just to read over your contract because you're not a lawyer, so it might sound good to you, but that's somebody that's professional or that's in that industry that's very knowledgeable in that. Go ahead and take a look at that for you to make sure that you're
in
okay
compliance,
compliant, and you're not going to be on the losing end of that particular contract. So it's always great to have different people at your disposal at any time.
Right, and then too we have so trademarks, copyrights, IP. Those are other things for some of the inventors, innovators that we'll need, and so that's another group of lawyers that you'll need because you want to protect who you are.
Correct. Trademarks, yes, things like that.
And I learned something about trademarks because yesterday I was watching a webinar, and she explained that trademarks can be okay. How does it work? So trademarks, you and I can have the same name. We can use the same phrase and trademark it, but because you are in a different industry and using it for a different reason, I can also have that same one and use it in my industry for a different reason, and it can still be trademarked both ways. Because she explained that your brand is what people recognize over a period of time, and so that helps with that. And so I didn't realize that you can have, depending, but you have to get them to talk to you about it because I am no way, shape, or form an expert in any of this.
This is not legal advice.
Right, this is not legal advice. Please go seek a lawyer. But she did explain that there are times in which people will fight you on that, but then they'll have the conversation with the USPTO and kind of help them to understand that because it's being used in two different places, it can coexist. Because you may be in the state of Texas and I may be in the state of Pennsylvania. We can still use the same trademark and we can have it allocated to us.
Just because it's different states or different industries?
Areas, both.
Oh.
So there's a lot of that. And then the other thing she explained, which I found very interesting, that's why I say podcasts, radio, and the Zoom meetings, webinars, and things that are going on, they are impactful. There's so much information that's being provided. She explained that there are terms that we use in our community that when we put it on paper and we go to a lawyer who is not familiar with our culture, that they will go and put it through, and then the USPTO will reject it. And then if you take it to someone who is familiar with their culture, they know how to write it in a way and fight it in a way that actually gets you your trademark. I was like, are you flipping kidding me? Yes. And I never, ever thought that because of the differences in our cultures, that was the reason why some of our trademarks and things were not getting through.
I never thought that either.
I did not know that until yesterday.
I did not.
Two lawyers, one up north and one down in Florida. They said.
But you know what? I ended up finding out that that's the reason why we have different Chamber of Commerce as well, because of our cultural differences. And so, Ms. Thompson actually explained this to me, if I can remember right, that she said, to be able to explain different things from the way so that we'll be able to understand them in business as well. It's just like, they have, different Chamber of Commerces. We are the Tri-County Regional Black Chamber of Commerce, so that we will be able to explain business in general, how to start a business, how to, what things are being said, how they're being said, how things run in business in general and entrepreneurship in a way that we would understand it.
Right.
So like if we went somewhere else, they're going to talk in a different, how they would understand it, and that might not help us at all.
Right, because our terminology, so everybody's understanding is different. So if you don't have the right people in your court, you will make a decision based on someone else's experience that may not have been the same type of experience you would have had. Because what we do and what others do are can be seen as the same, but for different motivations. You know, so we use certain terms that other people are like. So the example she had given is that we use certain terms in our community that they don't use in theirs. So they
and vice versa.
Right, and so then therefore they say, you can't trademark that. That's not something you can do. But then when it's explained why and where it actually comes from, then it'll be like, oh, I get it. Now, yes, you can do that. But the only people who understand that are people who understand what you're trying to accomplish. And so that's, again, back to dating. If you kind of have that consultation or whatever's going on, and have that conversation with people now, you'll be able to figure out if it's a good fit for you.
No,
So look, I get to add something else to my list. Look, IP. So we got to do IP and lawyers.
Yes,
So there's also discussions that we'll need to have as well.
that's actually a really good one.
Mm-hmm. You know how unprotected a lot of people are because they're too afraid to go, and they feel like it's going to be too costly. And it's some of the paperwork is a little extreme.
It's paperwork, and it's not free. So
Not free, and only people who like to build things like that find that interesting. Like when I look at my IP, I'm like, well, this is cool. I like this. You know, everybody else is like, what the heck are you doing? You know, so there is a difference in the people. Sometimes it's fun to build it, but it's fun to review it as well for me. But not everybody's going to have that same enjoyment. But we
Correct.
do need to start protecting ourselves because a lot of the things that, as a group of human beings, we are walking around kind of unprotected because we're unaware of what's necessary in order to become protected.
correct.
So I think
That's
that's
correct.
important. That's very important. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap up. We're gonna talk. We're gonna again. We gotta really push. First of all, I'd like to give a shout out to GMT Radio because he is awesome.
He is.
He is awesome. So no matter what happens, he keeps it. He keeps the doors open. He keeps us safe. You know, he makes it possible for us to keep coming, and I think that that's really important. And so, if anybody's looking for an opportunity to be on radio or podcast or even do some TV, just reach out to gmtradio.com, and then he will gladly take care of you. But at the same time, we still want to go ahead and remind everyone that this, advertising opportunities are still available, and to go visit tcbcc.org and click for the radio show, and then fill out the information for the radio opportunities.
Yes.
As well as we want to go ahead and make sure that people know that they can also go to the same website and become a member.
Yes.
Because it's been very impactful to me, it's helpful to me overall, and I know for you. So I think we should encourage people to do that as well. And understand that May through June, their calendar is coming out May 1st. Tune in May 1st so that we'll know exactly what workshops and things are coming up.
But and it'll be out for 3 months in advance. So that's how it'll be from this point on, I believe. So that you can plan your schedules around the workshops and things like that. But don't forget, please go ahead and complete the survey so we know how to help you.
That is right. That's what we're going to do. So we're going to go ahead and thank our sponsors. So we'll thank our listeners. Thank the people who are chiming in, going to the website, taking a look at the podcast and things like that. But we want to thank Southwest Airlines as a proud air travel sponsor of Tri-County Regional Black Chamber of Commerce. And we also like to thank Primcore Business Solutions. Thank you, Tia, for showing up today, hanging out with me, brainstorming. Man, we keep learning from each other. We just need to keep showing up. And this kind of looks like dating. No.
We're dating.
We're dating. So thank you very much, everybody. Have a great day, and remember that business hasn't stopped. It's up to you to go out and seek your opportunities. Have a great one.
Have a good one.